Sistem kewangan Islam kini diakui semakin penting dan terbukti mendapat sambutan daripada masyarakat, malah ia turut dipercayai sebagai alternatif terbaik untuk memulihkan sistem kewangan dunia yang kini sedang berdepan kelembapan ekonomi dan krisis hutang. Dan bagi mengetahui kepentingan dan masa depan sistem kewangan Islam, kita bersama Wasim Saifi, Ketua Global Perbankan Pengguna Standard Chartered Sadiq. Hi Wasim, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about the global trend in Islamic banking, especially on the consumer banking side. What do you make of it as we reach the end of 2011?
I think the last few years, if you see, there's been a very strong focus towards Islamic banking at the consumer side of the business, especially in parts of Southeast Asia and in parts of South Asia and Middle East. We're seeing more and more customers looking for an alternative in keeping with their need for Sharia compliance. So we're seeing more and more of the customers looking for Islamic products, and also it's something which has been developing on the basis as the Islamic banks and Islamic providers like us become more sophisticated, the range of product becomes bigger and bigger. More and more people are asking the question at the consumer level, why not Islamic banking? So if you've got all the conveniences that you're used to in the conventional bank, you've got all the product range that is there that you've been used to in the on the conventional space, then why should you not get Sharia compliant and make it Islamic banking itself? So I think that seems to be a big focus happening in this part of the world across these geographies.
So the understanding when it comes to Islamic banking, Islamic financial products, and also the demand, because looking at Southeast Asia itself, there's a growing trend for middle income earners to be quite huge within this region. Will that be the the catalyst for huge growth in maybe Southeast Asia or other developing regions as well?
Absolutely. I think in the last few years Islamic banking has grown a lot, but the issue is we still got a long way to go, because even if you see in countries like Malaysia or other parts where Islamic banking is prevalent, a larger percentage of the Muslim population still banks conventional, and many of them today are looking to move into Islamic. So you will see that happening in the future. Plus you've got very large population countries like Indonesia, like Pakistan, which still have single-digit penetration for Islamic banking. So the upside is quite large. Then additionally you've got new frontiers being opened up in places like Africa, for instance, where there is substantial demand for Islamic, but it's still at the very, very beginning stages of Islamic banking. So I think the future is quite bright for Islamic banking itself.
You've mentioned that a lot of numbers of consumers are looking at Islamic banking for products, and because of the sophistication of the products. Is Islamic banking competing with conventional banks, and are they getting there, or how are they doing as opposed to conventional banks?
I think the gap is certainly getting bridged between conventional and Islamic. You must appreciate that in the organized sector, Islamic bank is a fairly recent origin. The first Islamic bank, full-fledged Islamic bank, was only set up in the mid-70s. So from that perspective, Islamic banking has come a long way since then, and the gap between conventional and Islamic is getting bridged. Now, is it competing with conventional? In a sense, yes, it is, because ultimately it is the same customer base. Also, it is competing on the basis that many of the people who are banking Islamic today traditionally were people who were banking on the conventional space, and over a period of time have decided to move into Islamic primarily because they are able to get what they want, and yet it gets them that Sharia compliance in terms of peace of mind and banking with your religious beliefs.
Has it become more than a religious belief? Is it cross-cultural and cross-religious as well?
See, if you look at Islamic banking in its entirety as a proposition itself, then Sharia compliance becomes a very important part of it, and it's at the heart of the proposition itself. When you go beyond the proposition to look at individual Islamic products itself, then I think it has gone much beyond appealing only to the Muslim population. For instance, take the example of Islamic mortgages. In many parts of the world where Islamic banking is active, many of the mortgage customers are non-Muslims, be it in Malaysia, be it in the Middle East. So when you look at specific products, then the appeal is beyond Muslims itself. But when you look at the overall Islamic banking proposition itself, then obviously Sharia compliance becomes a very, very important part of that proposition.
Okay, looking at the growth that Islamic banking has seen, especially in the consumer side over the past few years, we've seen tremendous growth. But how do you sustain that growth? Maybe should Islamic banking go into a broader base in terms of attracting more consumers, or adding value to its existing consumers by introducing more new products to maybe retain the amount of users it has right now? I think
it's a two-pronged approach here. One approach clearly is that there is a need to enhance the education level itself, need to educate your client base, your potential client base on where Islamic banking has come to, what are the benefits of Islamic banking itself. So the education part of it becomes one element of the strategy going forward. The second element clearly is to further enhance the proposition itself. Let's look at, there is still a large number of Muslims who still bank on the conventional space, and increasingly they are going to look to want to migrate to Islamic. We can make that easier by doing things that make the journey for them pain-free or hassle-free itself. And I think that is one of the principal reasons that for us Standard Chartered SADC is become a very important proposition for us, because we are really appealing to those customers who want to bank Islamic but were hesitant that because they feel that they don't get the convenience, they don't get the commercial proposition, they don't get the access that they've been used to on the conventional space, they don't get that in the Islamic space. We want to make sure that happens, because then the customer is able to make that decision, the customer is able to exercise that choice, that they can get what they want from the banking side, but yet have it in a Sharia compliant way. Okay, let's take a short break, but before we do that, we'll look at the scenario of Occupy Wall Street and Occupy around the world, where people are accusing conventional banks of maybe not being fair. And looking at the crisis right now, is there maybe a space for Islamic banking to further grow in terms of providing that trust, that reliability that people are looking for when it comes to banking and financial services? Let's talk about that in a while. Dan kita akan berehat sekali kembali selepas ini.
Wednesday.
So Lina, what's your dream house like?
My dream house, I don't know.